All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending the beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program virtual stakeholder listening session. We have just a few slides to share with you all before we open the floor to you all for your comments. So first of all, I just would like to share the meeting logistics and that this webinar is being recorded. So please make sure to mute your microphone until we get to our comments, and then we'll ask you to unmute at that time. Additionally, the slides in the recording are going to be posted here at this link, and I'll post that in the chat as well. Next, I would like to share the USDA non-discrimination statement here. And this basically states that USDA is an equal opportunity provider, employer, and lender. And next, I would like to introduce Dr. Melvin Carter to bring some welcome.
So can everyone hear me? Good. So I want to thank you all for attending and just welcome you to the BFRD program. And just a few statements. The primary goal is to educate and provide technical assistance for our next generation of farmers and ranchers. We know that there is a need to ensure that strategies are in place to address key challenges to work with aspiring and new farmers. Thus, we must provide access to trainings that focus on land access, capital management, marketing strategies, business practice, and production skills. New farmers are essential for us to maintain our capacity to grow crops, livestock, fruit and vegetables for sustainability. Also, we must also ensure that the young farmers are being trained, mentored, and being provided apprenticeship opportunities with our retiring farmers to provide enhanced business skills and know-how for their farming operations. So during this listening session, we encourage you to share your societal challenges relevant to farming and ranching in your local area, your state, or region that has not been addressed with this program. Your contributions are important, and as we enforce our initiatives and objectives of the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program. So we definitely want you to enhance our initiatives that we have there. We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to be heard in your voice, and that, our lead here, Dr. Ebadaji, are being cognitive and, just improving the program. I believe in the continuous improvement process that, nothing is ever perfect, so there's always room for improvement. So once again, we want to welcome you, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thanks all for attending.
Yeah, we thank you, Melvin. Yeah, this is Dennis Ebadaji. And as Dr. Melvin mentioned, we would like to hear from you in terms of how you would like to see us improve our processes.
And hello again, everyone. My name is Becky Hansen. I am a program specialist here at the Division of Agricultural Systems at NIFA and on the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program with Dennis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aisha Magruder. I am also a program specialist in the Division of Agricultural Systems. I am new to the team, but I am excited to be here today.
Thanks, Aisha. And Dennis, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Becca. Yeah, in terms of the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program, this effort was started in 2009, and up to date, we have been able to invest about $300 million over 600 projects. And as the goal is, Dr. Melvin mentioned, we want to be able to grow new farmers and as well as ensure that we have the farm in place that can be sustained over years. Next slide, please. Eligibility. We want to ensure that there is experience from qualified public and private entities, from cooperative extension, federal, state, municipal or tribal agencies, community-based organizations, nonprofits, universities, foundations, and also private for-profit organizations. Is very important. And the anticipated program funding for next year is $25 million. Next slide, please. There is a match requirement of 25%, but to have this waived, if you are serving underserved area of population, you indicate that in your application, the match will be waived. Yeah, Becca, next, back to you.
Thanks, Dennis. Just here is a tentative timeline for BFRDP. So we are in the pre-solicitation right now. The RFA will typically be released sometime in the winter. And then the proposal deadline happens in the springtime. The reviews and award notifications happen midsummer, and the start date for most BFRDP awards happen in September. So with that, we will move to the purpose of this stakeholder listening session and how the listening session is going to run. So the purpose of this is to have an opportunity for you all to contribute your expert opinion on how federal investments can best address current needs and challenges facing beginning farmers and ranchers. The intent of this session is for input and guidance from you all. So it's not a Q&A session. We'll be quiet on our end and just be listening to you all today. And then the Zoom venue is open today until 4:00 p.m. Eastern time. So we have about 2 hours now to go ahead and hear from you all. Additionally, we're also accepting written comments until September 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you would like to submit written comments, you can go ahead and do that by sending them to bfrdp@usda.gov, the email address there. And we do ask for a limit of 2 pages, double spaced with font size 12 and Times New Roman. For the listening session process today, we're going to ask that if you would like to speak, to just go ahead and raise your emoji hand. There should be a little emoji hand at the bottom of the screen, and this will put you in the queue to ask your questions. We'll be able to ask for speakers in the order that you all start raising hands. And then we'll go ahead and call on you when it's your turn to speak. And at that point in time, you can go ahead and unmute your microphone, and you can also choose to turn on your camera if you wish. We ask that you please state your name and your affiliations, if applicable, before you speak. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak, and there'll be a little timer that looks like this on the screen for that time to show you about how much time you have counting down. And if there is some time that allows at the end, once everyone has spoken, those who have already spoken will have the chance to speak again. Again, if you have any written comments, please don't use the chat here, but send those written comments to our bfrdp@usda.gov. And then just another reminder that the purpose of this is to get input from you all, so we won't be answering questions on our end today. Then we also have some resources here on the slide. The Beginning Farmer and Rancher webpage, which I also put in the chat, the upcoming request for applications release calendar, the funding opportunities, which are also found at that address, and then NIFA events. And we'll go ahead and put those in the chat as well. All righty. And we'll go ahead and start the listening session now. So you should be able to go ahead and start raising those emoji hands, and we'll start to answer those in order. Again, just a reminder to state your name and your affiliation before speaking. And I'll just give just a second to get hands raised, and then we will go ahead and start hearing from you all. Okay, I see a Christopher Brown. If you would like to go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'll start the timer once you start speaking.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I was having trouble finding the unmute. Hi, I'm Chris Brown. I work with Alba out on the Central Coast of California. And I just want to say the BFRDP has been foundational for us to help establish and improve the program over the years. We've now been going for about 22 years. And I guess my impression is that you know, we're pretty siloed, the individual projects. And I think aside from the programs director meeting and you know, the materials produced from the educational grants, I think we need more opportunities for networking and mentoring. We have a lot to share. Program design and maybe some recommendations on do's and don'ts that created setbacks for us. And we'd like to offer that to other programs in a structured way, but there's not any real opportunity under, I guess certain programs can do that, but they really focus on obviously the development of beginning farmers and not necessarily the development of individual organizations or mentoring of other organizations. I was wondering if that would be a possibility.
Okay, thank you very much. And it looks like we have Rachel Bryce next.
Hi, folks. Thanks for the time today. I would turn on my camera, but I don't know how to do that. My name is Rachel Bryce. I'm the Program and Development Manager at Land for Good. We're a small nonprofit specializing in farmland access throughout New England. And we've received BFRDP funding a few times now. And I have some things to share that I've collected from my group. So as we all know, as farmland prices continue to rise, access for beginning farmers becomes more difficult. They need ready access to broader capital. So I'm thinking about things like capital that's specific for closing costs or capital that's specific to meet the gap between FSA funding and others. And they also need wraparound services, which include business viability TA, and then ongoing support and farmer to farmer connections. So connecting those entering farmers with exiting farmers is needed for farm transfers, which are complex and can take years to complete. So that's my first point. It would also be great if you could solicit and fund mid-sized operations, not just small operations, and include scaling up training for beginning farmers with 7 to 10 years of experience. The next 2 points, I'm not sure if they're in your wheelhouse, but you could pass them on up the line at USDA. Consider making direct grants to beginning farmers and get organizations out of the way of the broker for that, so more money can go directly to farmers. Reduce the paperwork burden, which is especially a barrier for smaller, less well-resourced organizations, and extend the time between announcement of funds and the deadline for submitting applications, which again presents a specific barrier for smaller organizations. And then this is definitely probably not in your wheelhouse, but I would really encourage you to speak to the folks who can advocate for policy, which would prohibit development of both housing and businesses and solar on prime agricultural soil. And those are my points. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Anna Rodriguez.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ana Rodriguez. I'm here with the agronomist Jesus. He's actually running our Beginning Farmers and Ranchers program that started last year, well, this year. This is the second grant that we get from Beginning Farmers and Ranchers, and it has been really successful here in Puerto Rico. I want to volunteer for all of you and all the beginning farmers and ranchers organizations that are out there. We have a lot of materials in Spanish, and I know there are a lot of Spanish speaking beginning farmers in the States. So I volunteer to, I know that information is on your site, but I volunteer to maybe do a training for people that are working with Spanish-speaking farmers because I know it's needed. I also would like to, I don't know, have something on capital access. Here in Puerto Rico, it's really hard for our small farmers to have access to capital because you know the problems. And finally, access to machinery and equipment. Most of our farmers do not have the access, and you have to be certified by the state to be subsidized to buy machinery. So that's a big problem for us here. And the succession plan, we are wasting a lot of land here in Puerto Rico because there's no succession plan. We have the old farmers that don't have anyone to give their land to, or their kids are not willing to do it. So, oh, sorry, Becca. Ana Rodriguez from Juvenile Corporation for the Development of Sustainable Communities in Puerto Rico. Sorry. That's it.
Rebecca, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a reminder, if you would like to speak, please go ahead and click that emoji hand at the bottom of your screen so we know that you would like to be placed in the queue. Okay, and we have Zachary. Floor is open for you.
Hello, I'm Zachary Couture. I'm here in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm the program manager for Global Greens program here. We've been doing work to help reconnect people who came as refugees to the land and to gardens and to businesses here for about 10 years. Actually, yesterday was my 10-year anniversary. So we've been doing this a long time. I guess I would first of all just echo what the other participants said about what we're seeing, especially as barriers to the people we serve, scaling up, access to equipment, access to capital, access to land. There's a lot of things that the farmers need that as we build relationships too, because we have a 2501 grant as well. And I guess to reiterate that BFRDP has been very integral to being able to have our programs and to successfully connect people to land and grow their businesses. But we just see, like, as we're building relationships with our local FSA, NRCS offices, the farmers say, hey, what can you do to help me access land? And we coach people to keep their records and do this and that, but there's just, the offices want to offer more things to people. How can we build a relationship? But they don't have the things that the farmers actually need. So that's more of a policy piece, not maybe necessarily BFRDP piece, but
Looks like we may have lost Zach, so if he hops back on, we'll let him continue. It looks like the next person, oh, there he is.
sorry, I will keep this to 1 minute. I know I don't have the full amount left. The one thing that we do see as a struggle for us is that we've gotten the grant a couple times, but the need to continually change our proposals, to change our programming, even though it's working, that we're fine. We don't want to do mission drift, and we do have an established thing that works. And so how do we continue to do our work sustainably to help farmers to grow their businesses when we're having to continually bring in new partners or start new things or new enterprises. That is something I know we're concerned about here. So yeah, those are my main comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jacqueline.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Dr. Jacqueline Beto, Chief Strategy Officer of Newark Science and Sustainability, Inc. in Newark, New Jersey. Thank you for having this listening session first and foremost. One of the things that I would bring to the forefront is that when we begin to think about the beginning Farmer Rancher Development Program, I want to make sure that at some point there's a deep dive on urban agriculture when we speak about urban farmers, and more so from the infrastructure of urban farming and not the perception of what urban is defined as in underserved communities. And so I would say when we're thinking about the grant and how it's defined, is really thinking about what does that look like from the urban agriculture lens. In addition, I would say that when it comes to the cyclical funding of this, I would echo what has already been said, is the ability to not have to shift what's working in order to be considered innovative to get the grant reissued as an entity. And I would also, in my final point, echo what was stated about Latino or Hispanic applicants, as there are many, but due to the application process, there may be a gap for language, and not just for the Latino population, but other demographics who may need assistance in the language barriers, but are doing all the work in real time. And I also offer my expertise and or support in supporting anyone that needs that type of help. Thank you. And that was my final point.
Thank you. All right, and then we have Vicky Marone.
Oh. Hi, I'm Vicky Marone. I'm at Michigan State University with the Beginner Farmer Grant, and we are about a team of about 18 folks from across the state engaging in curriculum development. And our goal is to create a curricula program that is accessible to anybody at no cost. And it can be accessible via internet or through a PDF, USB kind of approach, in lieu of chopping trees down and making books that sit around and collect dust. One thing that I wished had happened with part of when we received this grant was to be sort of like notified and invited to like a meet and greet of some sort of other beginner farmer grants within Michigan or even within the region. We all have something to share. We all have something to glean. And I think there was time wasted trying to get to know who is doing what and who has something to share. And if it's, I think if it's done by the USDA at a more formal level, it'll be seen as very acceptable. Of course, it's acceptable to share our resources, but you know, everybody's trying to dot their I's and cross their T's to get the grant outputs created. And sometimes little things like that get overlooked because of time crunch. And another point I'd like to share is that I think I see a great value in offering part of the Beginner Farmer Grant of a post effort award for evaluation. We include evaluation along the road of our 3 years for the grant, but it would be really helpful to have, to know that there's support within 2 years after the end of the grant, for example, to assess what has happened with all that information, with the beginner farmers who started it, who did they take the, did they use the outputs, and what did they do with them? I just see it's a big gap, and I think everybody on the policy side would see value in that, to see if there's what's working, what's not, and then the results of that would be very, very beneficial to all of us applying for grants, to find what works, what doesn't, or ideas of what works. They're not saying one shoe fits all, but that's what I like to share. Thank you.
Thank you. As a reminder, if you would like to give a comment or provide your input, please go ahead and raise your hand and we will call on you. All right, and we have Joe Ricker.
Hey, thank you. I just wanted to bring up a couple observations that I've had. So I work with the National Agri-Ability Project under a NIFA grant, and one of the things we support is veterans as beginning farmers. I work closely with Manchi Ramdas and Crystal Kyle. And we did do a veteran community of interest, which seems to have been very valuable, where we take everybody with nonprofits and organizations, either through the AgVet grant or other things, and pull them together for a lessons learned and a opportunity to share information. I'm available for anybody that would like to talk about that on email at ricker2, RICKER2 @purdue.edu. And I think that's been very valuable. In my counseling, though, with over 100 veterans over the past year that want to get into farming, what I have found is that the resourcing for them that are grant funded are very localized at times, and also kind of, I would say, I don't want to say it wrong, but I will say kind of piecemealed in the region. So there is no one program where you can really take a veteran or a beginning farmer and put your arms around them, give them a solid business plan, the experience of a farmer, not just an educator, although I think educators have a very large role to play in there. And so I would encourage a more holistic approach to making beginning farmers, or encouraging beginning farmers, with maybe a multitude of tools in an organization to help them out. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder, if you would like to speak, go ahead and raise your emoji hand. Looks like we have a few comments coming through in the chat. Just a reminder, please send those to bfrdp@usda.gov for written comments. And if you would like to state those written comments now, feel free to raise your hand and we will go ahead and call on you. All right, and we have Hugh Joseph.
Okay, I'm unmuted. This is Hugh Joseph with ISCD Solutions in Massachusetts, although we run a national program. I wanted to encourage more outreach and visibility for farm answers. I bet if I asked everybody who's on this call whether they've accessed and used farm answers over the last year, I'm not sure how many hands would go up. I'm not saying that the folks over there aren't doing a great job in running the library and the resources that are there and all that. But I think it would really help if there were a regular, webinars once or twice a year to go over what's there and answer questions, and also to just put out through outreach some of the features that are available to folks, because there's an awful lot out there that I don't think is being well used. And I think that's a shame, because it's a great resource. It's been around for a while and it continues to expand. That's it.
Thank you. It looked like Archana had her hand raised, but I don't see it now, so. If you still wanted to say something, Archana, feel free to raise your hand again. Oh, there we go. All right. You should be able to unmute yourself.
Hi, Becca. This is Birchna. We have a local organization and small business which we want to expand, make a national model eventually. And the new farmer, the beginning farmer program is extremely important and relevant. I have brought attention to the need of local regional farming for the last 6, 7, 8 years, maybe a little more. And what we want is obviously funding resources, community network for individuals who want to buy farms, become beginning farmers, organic farming resources, also to bring renewable energy on the farms, and successful operations. Our work is also focused on healing and empowerment and equity building. So as a beginning farmer, for these resources and information, knowledge, support system, and the community, for that to be available in a cohesive way, and for that interaction to be in real time, really, really effective. And we are also looking for rapid implementation. So thank you for sharing the timeline earlier. It's really good to know. So that's something that came up that I wanted to share, and I hope it's in line with what the conversation is now and what is being asked.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, it doesn't look like we have any hands raised, so feel free to do that if you would like. If you've already made a comment and you have something else you would like to add, feel free to raise your hand as well. Okay, Anna.
Hi, I just wanted to share with everyone that's here that we have been very successful working with the Veterans Hospital here in Puerto Rico. Like 3 years ago, we did a whole 6-month cycle of training at the hospital itself, and they received a stipend, not from us, but from the hospital. And it was so well received that we were asked to do another one. We're going to start this year recruiting. We recruited over 100 veterans. We ended up graduating like 23, 27, because the other ones just went in and out, so they didn't graduate with 70% or more. So, you know, for the people that are running NIFA programs that want to work with veterans, we found it very helpful to develop a relationship with the recreational area. And through the recreational therapy area, we were able to secure this relationship, and we hope to graduate 25, 30 more this year.
Thanks, Anna.
You're welcome.
Vicky?
Yes, you said we could share some more if we had a thought. I'm basing this off of a comment that was made earlier about the farm answers rather. Perhaps resources like that could be shared when we have our team webinars as a piece of it. As like, you know, FYI, did you realize that this resource is here and this is how you use it, where you find it, etc. Maybe somebody could share who has used it, of how they found it valuable for their needs. Just a thought to kind of like a continuation of the promotion of these resources, rather than just having it listed in the RFA and expecting us to figure it all out, because it's not always it's not always easy. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And Zachary?
Hi. One last thing that I wanted to mention is primarily, since we are serving, this is kind of piggybacking on the urban farmer comment, that primarily the folks that we're serving are aspiring farmers generally. They're folks in cities who would like to get out of cities, start growing more food. And so for BFRDP, there are grants like 2501, but for BFRDP, we can't generally include numbers from the gardeners that were, you know, we have like 200 families of gardeners and then 20 farming families. And a lot of that is because we don't have enough access to land, or the materials we're making maybe don't always apply directly to some of the farmers who are in the area already. So just in general, that's a comment about who is defined as a farmer. And I think the need, if we want to look at maybe expediting the process of creating more beginning farmers, to take a look at who the beginning farmer rancher audience is, and to think about potentially recategorizing some of that, just to be to be more inclusive of people who might have gardens and are aspiring. So.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, we have this Zoom venue until 4:00 p.m. Eastern time. So we will be here until the end of that time. Again, if you have further comments, feel free to raise your emoji hand. Archana?
I just had a simple question. I copied the link in chat, and it's possible that I didn't copy it correctly, and it says page not found.
Oh, thank you. Which link was it?
And there were a couple links shared by some of the participants, and if they wouldn't mind dropping it in the chat, that'll be really helpful. Thank you.
Was there a particular link that you were looking for, Archana?
I think I'm going to copy paste the NIFA RFA calendar again, so that should work.
For sure.
And one of the participants had mentioned the veterans training or therapy or the recreational engagement. I wonder if there's a link or a site for that.
It looks like there wasn't a link for the veterans link that you were looking for, Archana. Sorry about that. Anna?
Yeah, we don't have a link. We actually went personally to the hospital and we went to the recreational therapy area. We met with the director, we presented the program, and we provided a 6 months training at the hospital, but we didn't change our training, so it's our regular trainings. We did have to change a little bit about the language because it was more in Spanglish than just in Spanish. And we had to accommodate ourselves and train our staff to be sensible to the veterans' needs and, the situations that we encounter with their health situation, but there's really nothing in writing except the training.
Yes, Archana, did you have something to add?
I do have a question. I'm curious. So is there an opportunity or what might be the possibility of being on, is there a committee at NIFA or USDA for beginning farmers and to engage in this work and these efforts, furthering these commitments?
Dennis, did you want to jump in there? I know this isn't specifically a Q&A session, but did you want to address that?
Sure. We have Secretary's Advisory Committee on Beginning Farmers and Ranchers. And that is one avenue to address any concerns. And I'm happy to connect you with the point of contact for that group.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is great engagement, much needed for all of us. So to be a part of that, committee or the advisory team and working together, that'll be awesome. Yes, please. Look forward to.
You have my email address?
Yes. Would you like me to type it or I can speak it here too? So it's my first name, Archana, ARCHANAS, as in Sam, Visions, VISIONS @gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'll look for your email. It's all together. I'm also going to type it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Rachel, if you'd like to unmute.
Thank you. I was just thinking, although it is the Farming and Ranching Development Program, it would be nice if you would consider expanding funding opportunities to include activities that aren't necessarily considered under the umbrella of farming and ranching through a Western lens. So I'm thinking of indigenous food gathering practices, for example, because those are a very important part of a sustainable food system and food economy as well. That is my comment.
Thank you very much.
On that note, I wanted to say that that has been our focus, to bring forth the wisdom of different communities, incorporate those into farming, and for beginning farmers to access and incorporate all of those to create a robust system, which may or may not be how things are done traditionally at the time. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, this is Dennis Ebodage. If I may respond to your comments. Food systems is one of the priorities of BFRDP. Yeah, this is Dennis Ebodage. If you have any comments, please raise your hand. I would like to use this opportunity to thank Kenny and Kelly for the interpretation.
There are so many aspects that need to be addressed for beginning farmers, and the success and what the concerns and challenges might be and how to make it successful. And one that comes up, I looked into it, but haven't found cohesive, easy, ready resources. And I'm sure there are some. So I wonder if there's a system that's readily available to connect, or if not, then to create that. And I would be interested in that, to connect retiring farmers with beginning farmers.
Thanks. Archana, take a look at Land for Good's website. It's landforgood.org. In our work with exiting or transitioning or retiring farmers, our work with that audience, we do help connect them with entering farmers. And I know that other land linking programs around the United States also do some of that work. And that's—
Thank you, Rachel. Could you repeat that one more time, please?
Yep, it's Land for Good, landsforgood.org.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind sharing your contact information? I have typed my email in the chat.
Sure, it's just Rachel, RACHEL, at landforgood.org.
Great, thank you.
And this is Vicki Marone from Michigan State. There's also American Farmland Trust, excuse me, American Farmland Trust, AFT, and they are, they have full curricula for helping beginner farmers find land, and for retiring ranchers, farmers to identify the next farmer generation. And then that's accessible to all who would want it. AFT.
Thanks, Vicki. It's Apple, F as in Frank, TTOM.org.
Correct.
Great, thank you. It's been good being here with everybody. I am going to drop off now. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone. I have shared my email in the chat and look forward to the follow-up. And Anna, Vicki, Dennis, I think Becca, you had also shared, and there was a gentleman who had shared about the work with veterans. So it'll be good to follow up with this community here. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
We're just coming up upon the hour, top of the hour here. Still have another hour open for the Zoom session, but just wanted to take this opportunity for anyone who has not spoken yet. Go ahead and raise your emoji hand if you would like to provide any comments. Additionally, again, if you would like to provide some written comments, you can do so by sending a maximum of 2 pages to bfrdp@usda.gov. This session is also being recorded, and it will be posted on the same link that you all registered, and I'll put that in the chat as well. Yes, Anna?
I was just thinking here, since we're gonna have a project directors meeting in October, if we could find time for current, for current grantees to, I don't know, get together and discuss things like we're discussing now, like the needs, or is that already on the agenda? I'm just asking, since we're all gonna be there, and I'm dying to meet them in person because I have only seen them through the computer.
Are you talking about that now or talking about that at the PD meeting?
No, if we could, no, because right now a lot of people have like different issues and we have discussed them, throughout this hour. And I mean, the lending piece for me is very important. The veteran piece, the
Yeah.
veteran, and if we could find, I don't know, the time to discuss it, I don't know if we're gonna be able to, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out.
No, thanks for that. Yeah, I think for this space, we're gonna leave it open just for input for the listening session because it's being recorded, and also there's some other attendees here who aren't necessarily awardees. So yeah, we'll rain check that probably outside of this meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vicki, did you have a comment?
I have a question because I have a bad feeling I've missed it. I was out of the country for about 3 weeks and a lot of emails didn't come through. So I guess we have an in-person meeting scheduled that I didn't realize.
Yes, I'll follow up with you.
Thank
outside
you.
of this.
Thank
Yep.
you. Very good. Thank you.
Hi all, I know we've had a couple people joining us, so I just wanted to remind you all if you would like to come off mute and provide some input, please raise your emoji hand. Additionally, if you would like to provide written comments, please make sure to send those to our bfrdp@usda.gov email address so we can ensure that we capture those written comments. Thank you. Yes, Terry.
Hey, yes, hi, Becca. I just want to make sure you got my comment in the chat box there.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, you can either state that here or
Sure.
send that to the BFRDP email, just because the chat won't be, we want to make sure we
Oh,
can save that.
Okay. So yeah, so my very first concern is that I would like to see some criteria in there where we can include students from the 6th grade up to the 12th grade. That's, to me, is a critical time for us to try to capture more youth as they're younger, instead of waiting until they're adults to try to convince them to become farmers. So I think that would be a really great change in the program. And then the other thing is, I would really love to be able to put more, I don't want to say money, but more equipment or more products that farmers and cattlemen would need to operate their operations in their hands. So I'm thinking, direct resources. I think those two things that I've mentioned will greatly enhance the BFRPD program. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel, yeah.
Thanks. Terry, I loved what you just said. Could you say what organization you're with?
Yes, I do apologize. I'm with the Winston County Self-Help Cooperative. We're based out of Louisville, Mississippi. Our team leader is Frank Taylor.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks. This is Rachel Bryce again with Land for Good. I was just thinking, limiting the availability of funds to organizations that are formal nonprofits or have fiscal sponsors, I think limits the potential of what the funds can do, because there are a lot of grassroots and community groups who are doing really good work in this space that could benefit from access to funds. That's my comment.
Thank you. All right, everyone, we are coming up on the top of the hour. So we will just have some closing comments and close out. So thank you very much for your time and input, and go ahead, Melvin, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, appreciate that. We really want to thank everyone that actually participated, and definitely keep reaching out to us, because the cycle of this program is always about improvement. So we don't mind talking all year round. But really wanted to thank everyone that showed up today. I took some notes, and I'm sure all the representatives here from NIFA did as well. And we'll definitely be going back through the recording. One thing you can bet is that I'm going to be asking on Dr. Eladaji as well as his support staff on actions that we're going to take going forward to make sure that we are improving the program. But once again, really want to thank you for taking your time out and supporting the agricultural systems division, but more so making sure that we make this program better for you and better for our future farmers and ranchers. So thanks a lot, and hopefully you'll continue participating with us, and we'll see you in the future. Take care.
And Dennis, did you have any last comments?
I want to thank you for hosting. I would like to thank the participants. I would like to thank Kelly and Kenny for interpreting. And that's it for me. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, and everyone have a great rest of your night.